So I'm just now going to start adding the beads on. So I'm using this thread that I've included in the kit and my long beading needle, which you can watch the video on how you use this if you're a little bit confused, because they are quite big and long and bendy. So please do watch my video on this if you're kind of struggling, or you want to know how to thread it if you're struggling. So I've kind of threaded it and I'm all ready to go, and I've just come up through the fabric in this bottom corner. So how you add the beads is completely up to you, as with the rest of the kit. I'm sewing mine on so they're kind of in a similar direction to where my stitching is, and I'm also going to try and do something a bit similar to what I've done on this side, just to keep it uniform. But it's completely up to you. I'm going to sew them on one by one as well, but you can put a couple on at once if you would like. You can see I've already added a couple of beads on here at the top of the antenna, and that's just at the end of this back stitch. So I'm now going to start filling this bit here. So I've got a bead, so I've included some beads. I've just put them in a little pot because I find that it's easier to pick them up out of that, but you can always make a little pile on the table or just use them straight out of the bag if you would prefer. So I've got a little bead here and I'm just gonna thread it onto the end of my needle, push it down so it's kind of coming down the thread. You can then sort of lay it down to see where it would be. Go through the fabric, and you see how that's just kind of pulled it nice and tight and laid it down really nicely on your fabric. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of try and follow a little bit what I've done over here. So I've got 7 beads. I've got about 4 on this side, 2 on this side and 1 at the top. So the really important thing is that you just kind of fill the yellow section. It doesn't matter if you're kind of covering over little bits of your stitching, because the beads aren't going to fit exactly together. They are kind of going to overhang over your stitching a little bit, and that's absolutely fine. But that's why I would suggest making sure that you've done your stitching before you add the beads on. So I'm going to start putting my next bead on around here. So make sure that you're not coming up through exactly the same hole that you went down in, because you're going to struggle. It's going to undo your stitching. So you need to come up in a slightly different place. You can then lay your next bead down. So just keep stringing them on and filling the section. So you see how I've actually got 3 beads on, but over here I had 4. Obviously I've stitched slightly more area over here than I did over there. So what I'm going to do is I want to make it uniform, so I'm just going to add another bead on. It may just cover over some of my stitching, but that's absolutely fine. Okay, I've just kind of added another little bead on down here at the bottom because I felt like it was missing one, and I just wanted to mirror what I'd done on that side. So you can see this one I've just kind of put on there, so I'm just going to pull him tight. But again, that's just gone over some of the stitching that I've done, but that's absolutely fine. I'm happy now that it's kind of quite uniform. But again, how you add those beads is however up to you. My only tip would be to make sure that you kind of cover the yellow area, like I've already said, to kind of block it out. So now I've done that, and all of the other beads in all the other sections are pretty much the same. Just make sure the yellow areas are covered, so they go here and here as well. So that is kind of how to do each of the sections. If you do have any problems, just get in touch and let me know.